it from
I can
morning.
feel it. I'm standing up.
Brett told me it was time. Somebody's the 14th, 2018 to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amy, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Kuziak? Commissioner Peary? Here. Commissioner Scott?
Here.
Commissioner Wall? Here. Mayor Methodist?
Here. All right, well, first order of business is a presentation on the Chariot Local Area Transit Program.
All
And
right.
the Chariot is out in the parking lot.
Beautiful
Awesome.
turquoise
Lovely,
situation.
lovely color.
Yeah,
lovely
we can
choice.
thank Aaron for driving that up.
Thank you, Aaron, for driving that out.
Sure. I made it.
Awesome. Presentation is getting set up.
Thanks.
And then you want to be kind of on this side of the dais so that you don't get in the camera shot behind you.
This side? Or
You can slide a little bit to your left.
okay. And we're doing this. Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us, Commission and Jim, for the invitation. I'm Wyatt Tennant. I've been working with Ferndale and Jim and others for the last few months and trying to design this service for the community. Erin Cooper's here, and I'm going to call her up towards the end to give a little bit more of an update, but she's on our kind of our launch team, our marketing team, our operations to really get the community excited about this. So we wanted to spend 10 minutes kind of giving you a quick overview, if that's okay with the agenda, maybe answer any questions that you guys may have.
You can have 15.
That's great.
No.
We won't be here all night, but as it stands now, we are targeting a launch date of September 20th. That is my understanding DIY weekend. So we're going to possibly have some unique routes as well, but that's the launch date. That gives us about a month to really get the word out there and pound the pavement and get people understanding of what it is and downloading apps and really get a general sense of understanding in the community. Between now and then, we will have some various pop-up routes. So keep that in mind. We'll share some more details on that, specifically around Arts, Beats, and Eats, I think, Labor Day weekend. But here's a Chariot. As we saw, it's right out there. I think the teal in real life is probably a little bit more vibrant than this slide. This, in particular, the one we brought is a 14-passenger. The one that we have on the route currently, we have 2 on the route currently, but they're 7-passenger, wheelchair accessible. Since it is open to the public, we wanted to follow pretty strict guidelines when it comes to that. And here's the proposed route. This is all but finalized, and when I say it's all but finalized, is we need something to start with. You know, and we want to give this a shot. This was designed with a lot of the folks in Ferndale and the understanding of where some of their outlying parking will lie, some input from Jim and the folks here in Pleasant Ridge. But this is going to be our starting point. With that being said, it's not set in stone. You know, if we find that, hey, no one's boarded a Chariot at this stop for the last 4 weeks, we're not a city bus, we're not just going to keep going there and pulling over. We want to find out where people want to go. So we're more than happy to optimize the route as time goes on. But in case you guys can't see streets, I can go over this briefly just to give you an understanding if you want to kind of close your eyes and visualize here. I think of it more as a loop starting at 9 Mile and Livernois. It probably will pick up right off 9 Mile in front of Ferndale Foods there on the curb space. and it'll turn left down Livernois. The Gary Kulik Community Center is one of the outlying lots that they're going to instruct people to park in. So it'll pick people up there. It'll turn left on, I think that's Fielding, and then back up Allen with a drop off. Those aren't stops, 3 and 4 aren't stops, it just has to turn that way. But with a drop off, pretty much right downtown between, is it Rosie O'Grady's there? Or right behind there. And then it'll loop back down to Woodward and get down to the First United Methodist Church, where they're also instructing people to park. It'll loop northbound on Woodward. We're working on a partnership with SMART. We also want to, as we promote Chariot, we're also being considered and wanting to promote public transit as well. I mean, that there's another, that really we just want to get people down here and keep these businesses going without driving their own cars, you know, and clogging it up. So we're going to utilize the northbound SMART bus stop there and then head north into Pleasant Ridge. So as it looks right now, we were considering the areas of like Sylvan and Indiana, definitely on Sylvan somewhere there. So we've got a meeting Thursday that we can fine tune that a little bit, but we want to at least have one pickup on the east side of Woodward and then head across Woodward. My guess is it's going to be the curb space between Oxford Park, and I think there's like a little elementary school there. There's just that quick little turnaround there for another pickup as well. And then it'll loop back down to Woodward and utilize the southbound Woodward stop, and then you complete the loop going back that way. So the current hours of operation are Thursday through Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, 4 p.m. until midnight, with the second Chariot coming online from 5 until 10 during what we deem as peak hours. Meaning, during peak hours, you should see, depending on traffic, you should see a Chariot every 15 minutes. That's the goal, and we'll certainly track that and be able to understand, you know, how long are these routes taking, what does the traffic look like, but that's so far what our dry runs have told us. So,
How long is it taking? I'm sorry.
during peak hours, it would be a 15-minute headway, so you'll see a Chariot every 15 minutes. That's a 30-minute loop, roughly speaking, but during peak hours there'll be 2 making that loop, and the goal is to keep them as evenly spaced as possible.
And we will have assigned times for every stop, so you'll be able to depend on, you know, at 5:37 at stop number 3, which is at this intersection, that's when the Chariot will be there, and our drivers will never leave earlier than that. They might arrive 2 minutes early, depending on traffic, but they'll never leave early. So, you know, same with the regular bus where they have set times. That's the way it functions best from a user perspective.
Speaking of the user perspective, and yes, we will have a schedule that can either be found on our website by calling our customer service, but the easiest functionality, it's crazy just like anything else these days, is going to be on your phone. If you download the Chariot app, you will be able to create a login. Now, this service is free for all community members, so use whichever login you like. It's a little different for some of our other clients, but use whatever email you wish to receive updates or notifications at. And once you download, it'll know that you're in the Detroit market. You'll be able to find a route there. I'm guessing this goes live next week sometime?
Yeah, I would say at the latest, end of day Friday next week, it'll be live.
So next week it'll be live?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so people should be able to see the actual route, see the little blue stops are going to be what you click into to board if you'd like. I will say that we are not, it's been decided that this is, like, once again, it's free to the public. We are not turning people away. If they are at a stop and they say, hey, I'm hopping on the Chariot, our drivers are going to let them on the Chariot. We do want to promote the app usage as much as possible, because the individuals can then track the Chariot, see how far away it is, and they can make sure that they have a reserved seat. If there's just multiple people hopping out without reserving seats, you may see a full Chariot coming by. You know, so you want to make sure to try to reserve your seat. And at the end of the day, big picture, we really want to see how things are going, like ridership-wise and trackability. The city of Ferndale wants to know, is this a success? And the only way to do that is not anecdotally by saying, wow, that was a busy night. It's by saying, listen, we picked up, 78 people at these 6 stops, and it was very busy between these hours, but not so busy on these hours. So We really want to push the app usage as much as possible, but I do want to mention, like, we won't turn away individuals that want to ride the chariot. So you select your route, you click, it says, Linda's going to be here in 12 minutes. You click on that one, and then it gives you your little boarding pass that it says, I've got my H3. When you hop on the chariot, we have iPads for all of our drivers. It corresponds with what is showing them. They say, hey, take a seat, and you're off to the races.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you give preference to people who have checked in? Like if there's a bunch of people waiting?
That's a great question.
So I would say that operationally we would have to, since you're supposed to use the app.
Yeah.
So let's say there's already 2 people on board, and then there's a stop with 7 people. Only 5 of them can get on. That being said, with 2 chariots circulating, they won't have to wait that much longer.
Sure.
However, we want to give everyone the best possible experience. So if someone is very mad or whatever the case may be, we're going to, of course, tell them how to download the app for the next time. But worst case scenario, our customer service team can get them like a lift and help them get wherever they need to go.
But you'd almost have to like train people just to keep track of it and try to have a handle on it.
I agree.
And the same thing goes with canceling. So let's say you think that you want to go on the one around 7 o'clock, but then you have to stay at work late or whatever, something comes up. We do ask people to cancel for the reason that more people want to ride. So it's important to see that. And then if people don't have the app, our drivers are trained to manually board them. So then that way, someone else waiting will see that that seat is taken. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you hopefully you won't see, there's 7 seats available, and then it's full. That shouldn't happen.
Right.
A couple more details, then I'll let Aaron touch base on more of the marketing side of things here in the next month. But so Chariot, if you haven't heard, it's a division of Ford Smart Mobility. We're based down in Dearborn, but we have operations in 10 different cities around the country. We're super excited to be here in Southeast Michigan. It's a lot more than just a guy in a van, so to speak. We hire all of our drivers. They're all W-2 employees. We own all of our vehicles. We have 24/7 customer service that can be reached through the app, through our 1-800 number. This is really important, especially when it's open to the public, where it's like, I left my umbrella, I left my wallet, you've got to be able to get a hold of someone, and we will have all of that information on our website, on the app, you name it. If you download the app, that's another benefit. They respond within, I think it's like a minute and a half. They respond, just text me back and forth. So we'll have the driver bring it back to where you were. Also, just from a safety perspective, all of our vehicles are maintained every 45 days. They're cleaned daily. It's a very, I would say, well kept vehicle as opposed to some of the other vehicles I've seen out there. So
there's also a camera, not only for the driver's safety and other driver safety, but for the passenger safety as well. So if maybe there's a passenger that maybe drank too much or something like that, we do have a camera just to be. There's a lot of safety things that go into it, but that's part of it. So we have those backup systems as well.
Like a city bus almost, where you've got a rear-facing camera and then you've got a driver camera for any hard braking or things like that. We want to make sure that we've got our driver safety tracked. All right, you want to come up and talk briefly? I know Aaron's been busy here the last couple of weeks meeting with folks just to really get the word out there.
So I'm Erin, for those of you I haven't met, and like Wyatt said, I'm on the city launch team, so the reason I'm here is to help prepare for this route to launch and basically grow awareness and understanding as much as I possibly can with everyone else involved over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So one of the main things that we want to do, and there's 4 of them basically, but I have new ideas every hour on the hour basically, but like Wyatt said, we have a lot of charters coming up, so whether it's Arts, Beats and Eats or the one that we did last weekend for the Livernois Stroll, we want to make sure that people seeing the Chariot understand what it is, and that's the perfect opportunity to let them know about this route that they'll get to use, Thursday through Saturday starting in mid-September. So the other is social media awareness. I today actually for a few hours was walking around to a lot of the businesses in Ferndale, and it struck me that not only is the social media aspect very important from you all and from Ferndale, and anyone else that wants to share the information, but all of the businesses, they're very excited as well, the ones that I met today. And the more that they can share the information and that gets to their audience, it just helps us grow and expand even more. So I don't think there's one, big solution that's going to touch every single resident that would want to ride. So I think every possible way that we can reach them is all for the better. Because the main goal really is to have people download the app, because then we can send out, if there's a route update, maybe we add a stop, maybe we, push back a time 5 minutes, or whatever it is. If someone has the app, it makes it a lot easier to communicate with them. We also send push notifications when the chariot's a couple minutes away, or maybe if there's, some sort of delay based on weather, based on traffic or an accident, we send push notifications that way too. So it's really the best user experience when you have the app. Also, we are looking forward to hosting some events with different local businesses. That's why I was walking around today to see where might be a good place for our brand ambassadors, which is what we call SIMS. It stands for Specialists in Microtransit. So where can they be to set up, whether it's outside or inside, and let just people coming in and leaving or walking by say, hey, did you hear about Chariot? Chances are they probably haven't, and it's a great opportunity to start that conversation. I know we'll be at the pool here in the area 2 different weekends. I know I sent you the update, I think, yeah. So we'll be there with the Sims. I am looking into getting Chariot beach balls for the pool. So I thought that would be fun. So anything to really we're really excited about that, and really anything and everything to grow the understanding. The difference between, let's say, where we started in San Francisco, you see hundreds of chariots all over the streets, so everyone has a sense of that brand awareness that Chariot is a form of transportation, versus here, or we recently launched Chicago. People there aren't used to seeing the vehicle, and they might not associate the brand with being a form of transportation. So the more we can kind of remind everyone through different formats and different avenues, the better.
I think there's one more little slide extra.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
You
may have touched on this already, but
Arts Beats and Eats is coming up, and there's additional Livernois strolls that we'll have pop-up routes for. We will have lots of Chariot swag at the tablings that we set up. So pop sockets and T-shirts and water bottles and keychains and anything you can think of. If you have special requests, let me know. I can reach out to our vendor. And then we're excited about being at the pool, like I mentioned. And we'll also have a pop-up route for the DIY Fest. So really, and then we'll also actually have sometimes our Sims riding along on the Chariot to have conversations with people, encourage them to tell their neighbor, tell their friend. Really anything under the sun that you can think of, we want to do to spread the word, because my goal is in a month, walking down the street versus now, that, 30 to 50% of people will say, oh yeah, I've heard of Chariot, I've seen it driving around, or I already downloaded the app, versus right now, that number is very low. So yeah. Does anyone have questions? I can answer kind of marketing and also operational related questions.
So regarding the route, I know it went south of the community center in Ferndale. Does it stop at like Livernois Tap in that whole little section where there's like a gallery and a couple shops?
Axle Brewing area and stuff.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we may add it. So that at one point in time was a stop. We actually have a meeting Thursday that we may add that again. That seems to be a pretty popular place, and especially if we're driving by, what's an extra 3-minute stop? So, as of right now, no, but it's definitely on the table.
One thing, with the Chariot going on a fixed route, even if it passes by Axle Brewing, technically the driver's not allowed to stop. So, granted, if we're on our way to another stop, it's pretty easy to build in a minute for a stop right there. But we'll iron that out on Thursday.
And so the owner lives in Pleasant Ridge, so it's very popular for people around here to go there.
I went there today, actually.
It's a really cool spot.
Yeah, I loved it.
And there are lots of little shops. There's a
Sure.
whole cluster of things happening right there.
It's a great idea, and that's one of those instances where when we talk to people, like, well, why haven't you taken the trip? Well, it doesn't stop at where I want to go. Well, why can't we? You know, like these are the little things that we'll anecdotally build in. So that's a great idea.
And we want to try to partner, especially with the businesses along the route, because it will also help them bring people there.
Yeah.
And something that came up a lot today are the managers that I spoke to. They're excited to tell their employees that they can use it because they're really concerned that they'll have some issues with people being on time and that sort of thing. So we can help benefit in that way as well. So, and then the employees, when they're not working, can use it to go visit other businesses that they want to go to.
I know you're trying to help with SMART. Is SMART going to help with Jared?
I mean, they're going to help by allowing us to to use their bus stops. But we actually have a meeting downtown with their marketing manager tomorrow morning to find out what their ideas are, how can we cross promote, you know, what can we do together. So yeah, that's
great.
organizationally smart. I think this is just the beginning of those conversations. I've met with them a few times, but this is great that we can, like, this is a pretty neat thing that we haven't done in other cities with public transit.
That would
So.
be great.
And I think we're going to try to have their collateral on the chariot so people can take that and understand the connection. We can even educate our drivers as to how the SMART bus works, so then if people are wondering, they can be a resource for that. So
That would be great.
And people can download the app now, and then the route will appear when it's available.
if you download the app now, you'll see the routes in other places. You can toggle to other cities, and then we'll have that live by the end of next week.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And there'll be pictures on the app of every single stop. So you don't just see an intersection, you'll see a picture of exactly where you need to be. So,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Get a picture of your driver and all.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, there'll be a picture of the driver.
Sylvan in Indiana is great. Keep with Sylvan in Indiana.
That area over there.
5 houses away.
Walkable for you?
Very walkable.
So
I guess that's
someone will be posting on PRPR?
Yes.
No, will you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the nice thing. We have a couple different social networks that will get the word out very fast.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
PR's got a good ring to it. I know Ferndale's going to do some things. I think between the businesses and stuff, we'll probably get some more generation of you know, noise around it in the next
Oh, I'm
year.
sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, if you parked a chariot a couple different places in town, it would start enough conversations about like, what is that?
Yeah.
Sometimes we
And why
get
are
a
they
few
there?
drivers and drive essentially like a parade of 3 or 4 chariots in a row, just
Oh.
kind of drive around. So we might do something like that in hopes that people see it and then see on the side it says download the app. Call outs like that aren't always effective, but seeing the vehicle is effective. So you might see a little chariot parade here and there driving around.
Chariot parade.
I know you're coming to the pool, but we also have family fun night at the pool.
Okay.
On the evening of the 31st.
That would be a
So,
great night for you.
That's
August
gonna be-
31st?
Yes.
On August 31st.
Okay.
And is there a vehicle
Park in our
available
drive, park in the park.
Saturday that can just sit
Oh, that's what
right here?
Oh, yeah,
I was just
for
thinking about. Woodward. Yeah, with the
Arts
Woodward.
Beach,
Oh,
yeah, for
wow.
the Dream Cruise.
Dream
Yeah.
Cruise,
Yeah.
totally.
Yes.
Or just be cruising up in there.
What
Yeah,
a
let's talk about
wacky
that.
idea.
Let's talk about that Thursday. We can
Yeah.
try to figure something
Yeah.
out. To plant one until Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay. Great idea.
But in the park.
I know.
See what happens, Steve.
Then we can have an officer in the
By the
car right
park.
next to him pulling him over.
Thank you.
Special class
Thank you.
action.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Thank you
Looking
so
forward
much.
to it.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good
Bye.
night.
Take your coat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they leave it so they can come back.
Yes.
It's like,
That's how fun we are.
That's right. All right. Next item is public discussion items not on the agenda.
Mr. Carter.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
this is exciting.
I have one.
And you are?
Hi, Commissioner. I'm Tom Trader from 11 Oakland Park.
Hi.
Hi. I've never been here.
He looks like our commissioner, Trotter.
I have, and it's too bad that Commissioner Krisiak is not here. She sort of chaired our commission, or our little meeting to begin with. But the Little Free Library, which has been absent without leave, is back, or will be back, either I may run out of light tonight, but probably tomorrow. So, Jim, could you put up?
Yeah, did you
Oh,
want
oh, sure, yeah.
just left and the right emails?
I partnered up with Amanda Husband again. The last time we had a really firm idea of what we wanted to do. We wanted the bus driving to the school, and she did that, and it was wonderful. This time, right here, this one right here.
Oh.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, all right. So, it's a little larger box than the last one, but she went with the Starry Night sort of thing. So, and I've got some detail on it. So that's the back of it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. She, her son had some input on this too. Her oldest boy, who said, you know, Mom, everybody likes bugs, and they painted in, and you'll look, there'll be little light white dots, and then a couple of other larger ones you'll see bugs, lightning bugs. Throughout the city, because we have a lot of lightning bugs in the summer, don't we? So, anyway, so that's essentially it. And of course you got the police booth for the police officer.
Right.
Oh.
How do you open it?
So,
Where's the front
so
door?
Where do you open it?
anyway, it'll be we're talking about going live. It'll be live probably by tomorrow. And but we do need, and this is, we have a whole stack. It's about this high of books. Not nearly enough for a great big empty box.
Oh, I'll put some in.
So we're thinking like pre-K to like maybe 3rd grade. If people can, if they've got kids that are, you know, not age appropriate anymore, they've grown up, they've outgrown the books, the grandkids. You've been to a garage sale, you drive by one, stop in, you know, get 4 books for $1 or something, and throw them in the box. But we really do need books for the youngsters. So please keep them in mind, because this would make a big difference. I was so proud when we first got those up there, and the grass in front of the boxes was gone. It was dirt. And now, of course, in front of the empty post, it's all grass, and the other one is dirt. So we want to get that place. I want to get it busy and clear the grass out again.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good enough.
Thank you.
Tom.
That's lovely.
That is really cool.
Any other discussion? All right. We'll move on to governmental reports, and I believe we have one here.
Good evening.
Hi.
It's not much of a report.
That's okay. You don't mind.
The chief has sent me in his absence, so just wanted to let you know all is well on all front. This month we did have larceny from one of the cars. Was unlocked, so just to remind people once again,
Glad it's still on.
lock the cars, because it's very rare that we get them where they break out a window or try to get into the cars. But everything else is going well, especially now that the road is back open. So our response time is back down to where it should be, rather than 4 minutes to get to Woodside now. So, but if you have any questions, I'm here.
Any questions? No? Any complaints?
Excellent, even better.
No, we're all happy.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right. No other governmental reports. We move on. City Commission liaison reports. Commissioner Scott, Historical Commission.
Just a quick one. The Kit House meeting last week went off with just great success. I hear that the place was packed.
It was really cool.
People got information that you just would not have gotten any other way. So hats off to John for helping with that, and also to the Social Commission. And if anybody has ideas for other speaking engagements for the city, feel free to come to our next Historical Commission meeting on September 5th. Always open to ideas on things to present to the city.
Cool. Thank you. Commissioner Wall, Recreation Commission.
We have some very exciting thing going on tomorrow. The Synchro Show, yes, the Synchro Show from 5. It's not at 5. It's 7. It's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. It's gonna be really cute. So if you're not doing anything, you should come on over to the pool.
Cool.
Then we have a new addition that is being announced: Family Fun Night at the pool, August 31st, from 5 to 9. Floaties allowed.
Whoa.
Heard it here. Floaties allowed. None larger than 4 feet. Dinner will be available at the concession stand for people who wish to purchase. It's gonna be a really fun, feel-good evening. And the pool closes sad September 3rd. Wah wah. Here comes fall. Then we can look at the hay rides and we'll be excited about that. That's all I have.
That's it.
Excellent.
All right. Commissioner Perry, I think you get to do the Ferndale Public Schools.
Yes, Commissioner Krisiak is not here this evening, but I did reach out to the school board and we got a good update. The Ferndale Schools is now an accredited advanced ed accreditation thing. It's a rigorous and prestigious accrediting body that goes well beyond the basic accreditations received by many schools. So we're very proud of them for that and excited. They also are welcoming back students to the school over the next few weeks. They have started with a whole successful, well-attended New Families event at the Ferndale High School. The elementary students and their families will learn about their new teachers at the Popsicles with the Principals events. Ferndale Lower Elementary will be Wednesday, August 29th from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on the Lower Elementary playground. And the Ferndale Upper Elementary will be Wednesday, August 29th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Ferndale Upper Elementary. All the families can go to ferndaleschools.org/welcome back for more information. And go to that location too, ferndaleschools.org. There's a lot of great information, including the date for the next school board meeting, which I don't have, but I know it's there. So check it out.
You know where to find it.
It's a Monday, right?
ferndaleschools.org somewhere. I don't even know that.
I'm not sure either.
Right.
Okay. Next we have Commissioner Perry. A
Excellent.
return engagement.
Playing the
Thank you
role
to tell us
of
about
Commissioner
planning and
Perry.
DEA. Thank you.
Encore.
Thanks.
It was so good. It was so good. We thought we'd bring you back.
It was fun.
I almost felt like Jason was here.
No. On Monday, July 23rd, the Plan Commission DDA met, and we had they had a great meeting. They talked about the chariot program and different ideas about stops and different things, the feedback and everything. And they had a lot of questions, and I think overall it was a unanimous support that was won for helping fund the program. They also discussed the DDA, the banner program along Woodward Avenue. There's the very beautifully designed banners have come to sort of the end of life. And so they were having a discussion on, and they have not reached a clear conclusion yet, but they're open to some other solutions that the city manager put out there as options of maybe we don't just do those banners, because Woodward is such a windy, sunny street that it's very hard on that type of the flagpole banner thing. So they're looking at some other things to mark the city that to consider in the future. So that was about it. The next meeting is coming up. Do we know, Amy, the date? I know. Sorry about that. But the next meeting is coming up sometime
October 22nd.
October
There you
22nd
go.
on Monday
You
at
just-
7 o'clock
you
right
can
here
get
at
my
City
phone
Hall.
out.
You were right there. Good.
Thanks.
It takes a village.
Thank you.
Well done.
It's summer.
Any
Thank you.
questions? Any further discussion on any of those? Okay. Wonderful. Next item is the consent agenda. There are only 2 routine items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Your Honor, I move that the consent agenda be approved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, may we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Metzger?
Yes. Motion carries. The next item is the community center renovation project bid. Jim.
Thank you.
This is fun.
So, nothing too exciting, but this is the last step before we kick off the community center big room project, awarding the bid. We did get 3 bids back for the project. The low bid was Ustan LLC of Auburn Hills, Michigan, with a total bid amount of $136,069 for the project. This is pretty much right where we expected bids to come in at. So this is a comfortable amount for us to handle. And we're also comfortable with the contractor because USTAN is the contractor who built the pool and wellness center addition to the community center 15 years ago, so they're familiar with us, they're familiar with the city, they're familiar with the facility over there. So yeah, you have a backup information in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about this, but the plan is to begin at the end of August, beginning of September. The project is scheduled to be complete by the end of October, which would have the facility open in time for elections. The good news is that if things run long, the last 2 weeks in the construction schedule are things like flooring, draperies, things that aren't necessary to be done in time for the community center to be open for elections. So we'll certainly be open for business at Fort Ridge for the November general elections. We just may not have the new floor down yet. We'll make do. So, Scott, was there anything else?
Yeah. A nice picture?
No. Just
Okay.
this one. We're to the actual line. We're to the line drawings part of the warm and fuzzy pictures are gone. It's
the browns and the green.
Just as a kind of a reminder to residents, as you know, we'll be open for business during the construction, but it's going to be a highly modified form of business. There's not really going to be any rentals during that period. People have been calling and asking, well, what about the small room? And we're really even iffy about that because the kitchen is going to be part of this construction. They're going to be doing some masonry work around it, and it's really not going to be, up to par for somebody paying for a rental. So we're really kind of cutting out rentals of the building during that time frame, just because it's going to be a construction site. We'll be able to have our classes and our other things, but for a rental, it's a little bit different. We're inviting residents to come in who are paying, and they're bringing in people from outside, and it's not necessarily the image that we want, like, oh, we have all this this dust and debris and just whatever for their birthday party. So we've had it blocked off for a number of months, but just so people know, it's been we've been getting the calls now for those fall rentals, and we're even trying to have them blocked off until the middle of November, just in case the construction runs long. But just wanted to kind of give everybody that update. So if they call and somebody says, no, we don't have any rentals, that's really the reason why. So, okay.
Cool. Good. Makes sense. Okay.
Jim,
Any questions?
would it be fair to say that if people went to Axel Brewing, just to get a sense of what it might feel like?
Absolutely.
Similar?
Yeah, we, the designer, who's a Pleasant Ridge resident, the designer who did Axel Brewing for the Pleasant Ridge resident owner of Axel Brewing,
We're everywhere.
is the design, the designer for our room as well.
Yeah.
So you'll see the similarities, I think.
And I encourage people to just go see it because it's really a beautiful space.
Right.
Oh, very beautiful.
Daytime and even in the evening with the lighting and everything, it's really well done.
Yeah.
And it gives you a good impression of what we'll be getting.
So the vibe will be similar.
Just the big room only, right?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No beer.
May I have a motion to approve the bid, please?
Mayor, I move the bid for the Pleasant Ridge Community Center Big Room Renovation Project be awarded to the lowest qualified bidder. What is it?
USTAN.
LLC of Auburn Hills, Michigan, in the total bid amount of $136,069 be approved.
Is there support?
Support.
Any further discussion? May we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Motion carries. Let's get her done. All right. Moving on to the city manager's report.
Yes. I'm happy to report that all of our roads are open.
Yay!
And I feel like we should have a celebration or something because all of our roads are reconstructed.
That's huge.
We started 22 years ago doing it, but
That's amazing.
I think our portfolio of streets probably has a lower average age than almost any other city in Michigan. So that's a very nice thing.
It's a win.
On streets, I've had a couple meetings. We're working diligently towards improvements to the Woodward and Oakland Park intersection next year to make that more friendly to cross, so that's looking good. That should be spring or early summer of 2019 if those go. And the other thing is, I think we're at a position now where we can sort of start talking about the fact that we're going to have a new city website soon. So that should be hopefully within the next month or so. It's not a promise, but that's a hope that we'll be able to go live with the thing. So I'm very much looking forward to it because it's going to make it a lot easier for us to communicate. It's it's a modern website. It's not as clunky. And
People will be able to find it.
Right, exactly. We'll be able to more easily update and keep the information fresh on there than it is now. So it'll be great. Good. Yeah. Other than that, enjoy the end of summer, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We move on to other business. Anybody have other business? No, so I'm going to move over to this chair.
Playing the part of Jason.
Playing the part of Jason. It's book time. Book report time. The book club is meeting September 12th, 7 p.m. at the community center, and the book this month is 1968. Some of us remember 1968. Some of us were there. Many of
Colors,
us
you
weren't,
remember it,
but,
you weren't there.
it was quite a year, right? So on the cover it just says in 1968, Mark Kurlansky brings to, is that what I learned to read? Yeah. Brings to teeming life the cultural and political history of that world-changing year of social upheaval. To some it was the year of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yes, it was. Yet it was also the year of the Martin Luther King Jr. and Bobby Kennedy assassinations, the riots at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Prague Spring, the anti-war movement and the Tet Offensive, Black Power, the generation gap, avant-garde theater, the upsurge of the women's movement, and the beginning of the end for the Soviet Union. It was quite a year. 50 years ago, right? So this is the book for the rather big. The print is rather small, but it still looks like an interesting tomb, as it were. So remember, September 12th, 7 p.m. Be there.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's a good plug.
Jason will be disappointed in that, but that's
No,
that's the best I can give him, right? So, any other business? I said 8:10. It's 8:12. We gave Cherry a little too much. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Bye.
We stand adjourned.